Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue dans un nouvel épisode du podcast Learn to French. Je m'appelle Eden et j'enseigne le français. Hello and welcome to another episode on the Learn to French podcast. If you are new here, my name is Eden and I teach French. Aujourd'hui, I would like us to focus on the French conditionnel présent or the French conditional. Of course, before I start, you can always click on the link in the show notes, that way you can read everything. First things first. Before trying to figure out what the French conditionnel présent is, let's take a look at the French conditional mood. Donc le conditionnel overall. What is it exactly? Le conditionnel is a mood of conjugation in French. It is used to express a wish, a hypothesis, or something subject to a condition. It has two tenses. So le conditionnel has two tenses in French. You have le conditionnel présent, which we are going to see today, and le conditionnel passé. Now, as an example, le conditionnel présent can sound like je serais, tu serais, il serait, nous serions, vous seriez, il serait. And conditionnel passé sounds like j'aurais été, tu aurais été, il aurait été, nous aurions été, vous auriez été, ils auraient été. So since we are going to focus on le conditionnel présent only today, I would like us to take a look at how and when should we use it, because you always need to learn grammar in a context and know when to use conjugation properly. So as I like to explain to my students, I would use conditionnel présent whenever I would use would, could, should, or even might in English. But I would like to sum it up in a better way to present it to you. So I made a table. If you click on the link in the show notes, you will be able to see the different uses of the French conditionnel présent. If you're unable to click on that link today or right away, I am still going to go through the uses of French conditionnel. So the first way you can use le conditionnel présent is a polite request, une demande polie. You are going to sound much more polite if you use the conditionnel présent for a request. For example, est-ce que je pourrais avoir une baguette, s'il vous plaît? Could I have a baguette, please? You can also use conditionnel présent to express a wish, le souhait, a wish. Par exemple, j'aimerais une maison en bord de mer. I would like a house by the sea. Another use for conditionnel présent is to give an advice, donner un conseil. For example, you can say this to your friend, tu devrais faire plus de sport. You should work out more. Tu devrais faire plus de sport. Faire une suggestion. So, you can also use conditionnel présent to make a suggestion. Par exemple, on pourrait aller au cinéma ce soir. We could go to the cinema tonight. You can also use the conditionnel présent to express a possibility, something that is not sure, like a fact that is unsure. For example, a rumor that you've heard or something like that. For example, you can say, apparemment, il y aurait des problèmes de circulation sur l'autoroute. Apparently, there would be traffic issues on the highway. So these are unconfirmed informations. You can also use le conditionnel présent to formulate a hypothesis on the present. Formuler une hypothèse sur le présent. Now, you are going to use two tenses here. Le conditionnel présent, but also l'imparfait. So, you are going to express si, if, plus imparfait, and then your condition in conditionnel présent. Here's an example. Si j'avais de l'argent, j'achèterais une maison en bord de mer. If I had money, I would buy a house by the sea. Si j'avais de l'argent, imparfait, si j'avais, if I had money, j'achèterais une maison en bord de mer. I would buy a house by the sea. And the last use that you can have for conditionnel présent is to express a probability, exprimer une probabilité. So something that is most likely to happen. For example, Il devrait bientôt arriver. He should be arriving soon. Il devrait bientôt arriver. So those are the most basic examples of when you can use le conditionnel présent in French. Now, let's take a look at how we can form le conditionnel présent, because forming the French conditionnel présent is quite simple, actually. To do so, we generally take the infinitive verb and then add some endings. And the endings would be AIS for je, AIS for tu, AIT for il, elle, and on, IONS for nous, IEZ for vous, and AIENT for il and elle plural. So that would be AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ, AIENT. Now remember how I always insist on learning the endings in French. That way you can also recognize the tense or even the group of verb. So when you take a closer look, you would probably notice that the conditionnel présent is actually a mix of futur simple, because we're using the full verb, the full infinitive verb, and then we're adding something else. But that ending is actually the same ending as you would use in imparfait. So it's kind of a mix of futur simple and imparfait. So you have regular verbs. So those regular verbs are going to be conjugated that way. Let's take a look at first group verbs and second group verbs. So for our first group, we're going to pick the verb chanter, and for our second group, réussir. So for the verb chanter, that would be je chanterai, tu chanterais, il chanterait, nous chanterions, vous chanteriez, il chanterait. For réussir, je réussirais, tu réussirais, il réussirait, nous réussirions, vous réussiriez, il réussirait. If the infinitive is already ending in E, like for example for third group verbs, you will need to remove that final E, and then there you go, you have your infinitive verb, and you have your ending to add. So let's take an example here with the verb prendre, prendre, to take. So you remove the final E of prendre, and then you add your endings, AIS, AIS, AIT, etc. So for the verb prendre, that would sound like je prendrais, tu prendrais, il prendrait, nous prendrions, vous prendriez, il prendrait. It is not French if you don't have exceptions. So of course we're going to take a look at irregular verbs. And here are some of the irregular verbs that you should know. Le verbe être, avoir, and aller. So let's start with these three verbs. Être, je serais, tu serais, il serait. Nous serions, vous seriez, il serait. Avoir, j'aurais, tu aurais, il aurait. Nous aurions, vous auriez, ils auraient. Aller, j'irais, tu irais, il irait. Nous irions, vous iriez, ils iraient. Now take a look at how the ending is exactly the same for regular or irregular verbs. What changes is actually the infinitive verb, or the root of the verb that we're using to conjugate here. Now, three more verbs that you need to know. Venir, savoir, and pouvoir. Venir, je viendrai, tu viendrais, il viendrait. Nous viendrions, vous viendriez, il viendrait. Savoir. Je saurais, tu saurais, il saurait. Nous saurions, vous sauriez, il saurait. Pouvoir. Je pourrais, tu pourrais, il pourrait. Nous pourrions, vous pourriez, il pourrait. And let's finish off with three more irregular verbs that are important to know. Vouloir, faire, and devoir. Vouloir. Je voudrais, tu voudrais, il voudrait. Nous voudrions, vous voudriez, il voudrait. Faire. Je ferais, tu ferais, il ferait. Nous ferions, vous feriez, il ferait. Devoir. Je devrais, tu devrais, il devrait. Nous devrions, vous devriez, il devrait. So that's basically it for le conditionnel présent. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I have also written some dictation exercises that you can work on using conditionnel présent. It's all linked in the article once you click on the link in the show notes. Merci beaucoup d'être resté avec moi aujourd'hui, et je vous dis à bientôt pour un nouvel épisode sur Learn to French. Au revoir!